Hi, my name is Michelle, and with my husband Vincent, we have lived for about 26 years on a small 3-acre wooded lot in the Tidewater area of Virginia. We are here to show you our small homestead, the struggles that we face every day to become self-sufficient. Vincent, or otherwise known as Vincenzo, is direct from Naples, Italy. He has been in the States since 1983. All projects on the homestead involve blood, sweat, time, and money. We think of ourselves as modern settlers of the small plot of land, utilizing bygone skills and trades to accomplish each project. Welcome to Bleeding on the Homestead.
Good morning and welcome to Bleeding on the Homesteads. Today's on my channels I want to show you guys how to make a kickoff flashings that is often used where roofing and wall transitions occur. The kickoff flashing is actually the very first piece of flashing that is installed at the very bottom of the roof, and it's designed to divert the the flow of water from the edge of the roof back into the corner. Kickoff flashings usually mounts against the wall and then is diverted, and the water coming off the roof is then deflected into the gutter. To manufacture this piece of flashings is actually very easy, but it's a little bit tricky, and I'm going trying to explain to the viewers how it can be easily done, and understanding how this concept of deforming materials prove to be effective in modify this piece of flashing. Flashing is usually comes in this shape and goes against the wall, and it's mounted in between the shingles to allow the water underneath the shingles and off the shingles to be diverted to the following shingles. But at the very end, the kickoff flashing is designed to help divert the water away from the wall into the gutters. Installations of the kickoff flashings is very critical. Basically, off the roof you're gonna have the drip edge, then on top of the drip edge you have the tar paper, then on top of the tar paper you have the starting shingles, and then on top of the starting shingles the very first row of shingles on the roof. But in this specific case, the kickoff flashing gets mounted on top of the drip edge underneath the tar paper, and then the tar paper goes on top of these. The first strips of starting shingles goes on, and then the first shingles mounts. I have looked on the internet before, and I look at several type of kickoff flashings, and most people on the internet take the approach of cutting the metal, and after the metal is cut, to deform it and bend it. Well, this is fine and well, but then you have a point of closure there where really you have the opportunity for water to get in and create a leak behind the flashing. What I saw on other videos was that the metal can be deformed as it shows in here, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Basically, you go from a flat piece of metals to one that deforms. The best tool to use is a set of pliers, needle nose pliers that have a long tip. I put at the beginning of the needle nose pliers some tape so that when I have to the pinch point, it doesn't create too much stress into the metals. It's important to understand how the metal gets deformed when you try to create this kickoff flashing. If you put the plier in there, and I can start, you want to imagine a center line here where you want, that's where you want your bending to occur. And if you got the center line drawn in there, your imaginary line, you will put your pliers right into the metal at that line, but you don't want to go all the way to the end of it, because that's where the metal is going to be highly stretched. So here, then you created a twisting motion. So remember that you, whatever side you want to go, from left to right. So because you're going to have for the roof two different sides, one left side, one right side, you're going to create a twisting motions with your arm, and as you twist, you're going to push the metal and start a deformation. So basically the metal is going to start deform, as you can see. This one is I've already done, and you overlap these two sections here, and once you do that, you then help that process by freehanding, and or you can mount it on the edge of the surface and help with the bending of these. The final outcome is going to be a piece of metal that is bent over. Here has like a Z type of bent with a 45 degree. You have to be very careful though, because the metal is going to be highly stressed in this corner right here, and what's going to happen is it's going to create a tear, and then you defeat the purpose of having a complete seal. That's why the idea of using the pliers, don't push the plier all the way to the end. Most likely you will attempt to do this several times. You'll need several pieces of flashing to be successful at one where you don't have a tear. But in this way, once you create this type of flashing, you can mount this to the wall, and this end here will divert, and the metal is one single seam. There is no cutting to it. You can install this with a single nail. It only requires one single nail. This portion here, this portion right here, gets mounted to the surface underneath the drip edges. This is where the water will flow into the gutter, and there is, like I said, there is no seams, and there is no cutting and opening, so there is no opportunity for the water to go anywhere but directly into the gutter. I hope that this is helpful, and next time you have to install a transition between a roof and a wall, and you put your step flashing, the very first one you install is the Kickoff Flashings, because that's the one that often is missing and created damage to the wall surface. Why is important for this in the homestead? I was tending to my front door of my house, which is north face to the property, and the door after 25 years has showing sign of wear and tear, and it probably needs a replacement. Replacing the door is not a cheap enterprise, and I decided to build a small porch in the front of the house to cover the door, so the future doors will not see so much of the environmental exposure. However, then the roof itself eventually will be replaced, but this is a less expensive, less time consuming and effort for the future. But as you solve one problem, you may create another one, and that was the transition between the wall and the roof. And in order to overcome that, I looked at the proper system to membrane. The flashing and the shingles had to be installed, but I noticed that there was always an issue with the very end of the bottom of the roof, where the water comes off the roof, and I discovered that a Kickoff Flashing is the items that is often used, well, occasionally used, but the method of fabrication that I reviewed wasn't very well explained. Anyway, I hope this helped, and I'll see you guys on the next videos. Thank you.